Hello, church. The other day, I was talking with the ladies in life group, and that night we came to the conclusion that we need to seek God's presence more, that we need to acknowledge God's presence and His existence. Psalm chapter 16, verse 11 says, "You make known to me the path of life. In your presence there is fullness of joy. At your right hand are pleasures forevermore." Then we find in James chapter 4, verse 8 that says, "Draw near to God, and He will draw near to you." Every single day, we are invited into God's presence. We are invited to acknowledge who God is and all the things that He is doing in our lives. But with the ladies, we came to the conclusion that it starts with us, right? Come near to God and God will come close to you. It starts with us, with our intentions to acknowledge God's presence and His peace. And this is not something that we find on Sundays only. This is not something that we need to do only when we worship on Sundays, but it's every day. When life feels overwhelming, that's when we can come closer to God. When life feels at peace, that's when we come to God. When we are grateful, that's when we come closer to Him. Psalm 16 reminds us that in His presence there is fullness of joy. No partial joy, not temporary happiness or based on conditions, but fullness of God's presence and His joy in us. What means it's real peace in the middle of the stress, confidence in the middle of uncertainty, and strength when we feel weak or that we can't do it anymore on our own. James gives us a key point. He says, draw near to God, because it is important that we come to Him. It needs to be in our minds and in our thoughts that we need Him. God's presence isn't distant or hidden from us. It's actually available. He's not actually playing hard to get at all. In fact, He wants to have a relationship with each one of us. He promises that when we take even a small step towards Him, He will respond. He will draw near to us. Enjoying God's presence also doesn't have to be complicated. Some of us, sometimes we say, I haven't been able to be in God's presence because I haven't had the time, or I didn't have that quiet time. But in reality, it is that simple steps can help us to acknowledge that God is all around us. In the morning by saying, "Good morning, God," or maybe when we're driving, to have that prayer that help us to come closer to Him. It can be a whisper prayer while we're washing the dishes. "Thank you for the food that you just gave us. Thank you for the family that you gave me." Being thankful and choosing awareness in remembering who God is and acknowledging His presence. Sometimes we think that we need to also be perfect, and that most likely will be a fact that won't allow us to come closer to God. But we need to remember that God meets us where we are, that we are His children, that He loves us just for who we are, and His mercies are big and eternal for all of us. So we can feel comfortable knowing that if we come today in a few minutes to His presence, we will find Him. He will respond. So today, don't just rush through the schedule, but instead, let's try to pause, to breathe, and to acknowledge that God is with us. Let's bring God into our ordinary moments to make them great and amazing, just by acknowledging that we know that He's with us and He is holding our hand when we need it the most. So because of His great love for us, we can say that God is real, that his love for us never ends, and we can experience his presence closer to us, helping us to connect more to him. Amen.